It's review time. Okay, so I'm going to go through each of the problems in a different way so that you can see them more than one way. When you're solving it, I would always go for the idea of trying to factor first, because if you can factor, it's just going to make it easier. So find the roots, solve for x, find the solutions, find the zeros. It's basically all meaning the same thing. So standard form, that's good. Whoops, don't want my mail up. Don't want my mail up. And then factor. So it's in standard form because it goes x squared x constant. And so I'm looking for factors of 12 that will add to 7. That's going to be x minus 3 and x minus 4. Once I find my factors, I set each factor equal to 0. So x minus 3 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. So the roots, or the solutions, whatever you want to call it, is going to be x equals positive 3, because the opposite of subtracting is adding, and x equals positive 4. Okay? And you can double check that on your graphing calculator. You put the equation into y sub 1, and you graph it, and you look for the x-intercepts. Okay? So this is a GCF, so I'm going to pull out the x, which is the GCF, because x squared and 6x have x in common. And then this is going to be x minus 6 equals 0. So standard form, set equal to 0, and then factor. So now I'm going to set the factors equal to 0, so x equals 0, and x minus 6 equals 0, so x equals 6. And again, you can check it on your calculator. All right, so I'm going to do the next one by completing the square, just so that you can see another method. Okay, so by completing the square, you want it to be x squared minus 8x, and you actually want to move the 10 to the other side. So that's going to be a negative 10. Then you take half of the b. So I'm doing negative 8 divided by 2, that's negative 4. And you square that and add it to both sides. You square that and add it to both sides. So that's going to give me x minus 4 squared equals 6. Okay. It's x minus 4 squared because x squared minus 8x plus 16 is a perfect square trinomial. Gotta love it. And when I did the negative 8 divided by 2, that's how I got that negative 4. That's why I knew it was negative 4. Okay? You take the square root of each side, and that's going to give me x subtraction 4 equals plus minus radical 6. So because that's radical 6, I'm actually really glad that I chose to do completing the square, because it actually was not factorable. And if you think about it, 10 could be 1 in 10, not going to give me an 8, or 2 and 5, not going to give me an 8. So it really wasn't even factorable, so it was a good choice. Now you move the 4 to the other side, so that gives me x equals 4 plus or minus radical 6. Now, the answer is 4 plus radical 6, 4 minus radical 6. If the question says nearest 10th, you put it in your calculator, each one separately, and you round to the nearest 10th. If the directions say find the exact answers, that's the exact answer. Okay, so whenever it's rounding is not an exact answer. All right, so this is the difference of two squares, so I'm going to use my additive inverses, x minus 4 and x plus 4. Those are actually called conjugate pairs. All right, and then I set each factor equal to 0, so x minus 4 equals 0. That gives me positive 4, and x plus 4 equals 0, and that gives me negative 4. And you're always going to get that when you have the difference of two squares. When you have the difference of two squares, you're always going to get additive inverses. It's a pretty cool thing. Okay. Oops, I didn't mean to make that. Oh my gosh, I totally don't want to do that. No. How do I make that smaller? Well, I made it go away, so that might not be great. I might have a problem with that because I won't be able to show you things, but we'll keep going. Okay, so now I'm going to make this equal to 0, so x squared plus 4x plus 12 equals 0. Factors of positive 12, that'll give me a positive 4, not factorable. So I'm going to do the quadratic formula. Okay, so you find the A is 1. You find the B is 4. You find the C is 12. So x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. The formula is on the reference sheet, or you can sing it out, okay? So x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of, I'm grabbing my calculator, and that's over 2. All right, so I'm going to enter the discriminant without the radical sign. So I have 4 squared subtraction 4 times 1 times 12. That gives me negative 32. I'm going to leave my answer like that because that is not rational, that's not even real. So just going to leave it like that, okay? Not rational, not even real. All right, so this one, I got x squared minus 4x equals 0. That factors into x times x minus 4 equals 0. So I'm going to get x equals 0 and x equals positive 4. Completely checkable on the calculator. Okay. Now, these are all actual Regents questions, so this is really what your test questions, the multiple choice ones, are going to look like. All right. So the degree of the expression is 3. So that means that the highest power shown is a 3. So it can't be that and it can't be that. So it's either choice 3 or 4. Now, the leading coefficient is a 2, so this would be 2x cubed. This would also be 2x cubed, so that's not helping me. The constant term is a negative 6, so it's going to be choice 4. Okay. What are the zeros? All right, so for this, you can totally do this on the calculator. You're just going to type it in the calculator and see where it touches the x-axis. All right? So hopefully I can bring up the calculator without messing all of this up. Okay, let's see. I hope you're all still here. Sorry this is taking so long. All right, so you hit your y equals, and you just type it in. All right. Ugh, sorry. Clear. Okay, so I gotta type it in. Let's see. X parentheses x squared minus 36. X parentheses x squared minus 36. X, what the heck? Ugh. X parentheses x squared minus 36. And you hit the word graph. Okay, so it's negative 6, 0, and 6. Negative 6, 0, and 6. Negative 6, 0, and 6. Okay, you could also do it by factoring, but I think that the calculator would be a little quicker. All right, so this is going to be completing the square, so minus 6x plus I don't know equals 24 plus I don't know. Half of negative 6 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9, so you add 9 to both sides. That's going to give me x subtraction 3 squared equals 33. Okay, so for completing the square, you take half of the b, So negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. You square that to figure out what constant to add. And whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. That's properties of equality. Okay, quadratic formula. Find the a, which is 2. Find the b, which is neg 4. Find the c, which is negative 3. x is equal to negative b, so the negative of negative 4, x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so x is equal to the negative of a negative is a positive, so that's positive 4. Then I'm going to enter into my calculator the discriminant without the radical, okay? You do not want to put the radical because then you're going to get some decimal number, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for what is the discriminant. Okay, it's 40. Okay, over 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 40. Sorry about my handwriting. That's radical 4, radical 10. So that becomes 2 radical 10. So I really don't have room to write it, but I'm going to try my very best. It's going to be x is equal to 4 plus or minus square root of 2 radical 10 over 4. I would leave it like that. Okay. All right, what are the zeros? You can factor it or you can use the calculator. If you factor it or use the calculator, okay, this is going to look like this. It's going to cross here at negative 2, and it's going to cross here at positive 10. And you can just put that into the calculator. Type it into your y sub and look at the picture. Okay? Same thing here. If I make this equal to 0, it's 3x squared minus 24x equals 0. You can factor it. You can pull out a 3x, and that gives you x minus 8 equals 0, or you can use your calculator. It's going to be 0, 8. Okay. Now this is a little weird because this is what they want the answer to look like, so you kind of just have to follow the directions. So I have x squared plus 14x, and I'm going to move the 28 to the other side. Plus I don't know, plus I don't know. Half of 14 is 7, and 7 squared is 49. Half of 14 is 7, and 7 squared is 49. Half of 14 is 7. That's where the x plus 7 comes from. 49 plus 28 is 77. And you're going to stop. I know that's weird, but that's what the question wants. Okay? All right, so then here, it's just a little like, hey, here's some advice for you. Basically, factor if you can. Completing the square when you can't factor. And quadratic formula when you got no other choice. The only thing about the quadratic formula is it always works. So if you're struggling with factoring, you're struggling with completing the square, and you are given the option, and the struggle is real for you, go quadratic formula. All right, good luck.